Hey, good morning.
All right, good morning. I'm Jim Bitticks. This is Leon. We'll get started here. Let's see if that works.
Done. Here we go.
I met Tommy, one of the other founders, when I was in elementary school, actually on the first day. And then I met Dave, I met him on his birthday. So at the time where Dave was kind of being born, I think me, Tom, Dave, we were all kind of at a stage where like, dude, we need to like kind of take over like the financial burden of our families. Like we need to do something. Took the idea of In-N-Out, the concept of it or the way it works. We took the flavor of hot chicken and we combined it together, and that's how the idea was kind of born.
I would always tell myself I would never open a restaurant with Armand. He doesn't like any gourmet food. He only eats like fast food and stuff. And for me, that wasn't a thing. Like I didn't eat too much fast food. I was very like gourmet. But my gourmet like mentality and his simplicity combined together created Dave's Hot Chicken.
We worked on the recipe for months, and we had everybody try, all our friends, till everybody pretty much loved it. Then we're ready to start our own business.
Tommy spoke to a landlord they knew, and they offered to give us a little parking lot spot. First official day, again, we made like maybe, I don't know, it was like 40, 50 bucks. We got contacted by Farley Elliott, who's a writer for Eater LA. It was funny because when he came by, like, I don't think he realized it was a pop-up. I think he thought it was maybe like a food truck or like a restaurant, because his first initial reaction was like, dude, this is it, because it was literally like a tent, 3 tables, a little fryer, and like just these 3 guys there.
We were actually about to close. We were doing the last batch, and we got really lucky because we had only like 4 pieces of tenders left.
He's like, I'm gonna write an article on you guys. And the next day we checked on Google and it said, Hot Chicken Stand Might Blow Your Mind. That was the title. And we're like, dude, we're gonna be busy today. Like, we're gonna be busy today. The rest is history.
And they were busy that day and every day after that as they started up the Dave's Hot Chicken brand back in 2017, literally in a parking lot pop-up. 4 guys, there was really 3 at the beginning, and the 4th one was a brother that joined in when they went to a brick and mortar. None of them graduated from high school, believe it or not. They all finished with like GEDs or whatever. They couldn't make it through. And somehow or another, they turned it into this super profitable big business that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. I'm Jim Bitticks. I'm the president and chief operating officer for Dave's Hot Chicken. And this is Leon Davoyan. He's our chief technology officer. And I'm going to move through this really quickly. Happy to take questions throughout or just at the end, whatever works for you. The Dave story, 3 guys, parking lot, moved through it, 7 levels of hot chicken. This was the original marketing campaign that the guys started with. As their first couple of days, they did $40 in receipts each of the days. And so in order to drum up business, Armand, the guy in the video here, took to this approach. Oh, start it over.
Oh, no.
There should be audio on this one. If not, I can pretend.
Why don't you voice over it?
I could voice over it. Hold on. Here we go. Try it again.
Get your hot chicken. Oh, there you go.
Come get your Nashville style fried chicken!
Literally, that's how they drummed up business, and eventually took it to Instagram, and through the Instagram channel, kept tagging this all these bloggers, food bloggers in LA. One of them named Farley Elliott, and he came out. He tried it literally on the 3rd night they were open. And the next morning, he posted this blog article, and they literally had a line around the block on day 4. So it's a crazy story. It's like when Usher discovered Justin Bieber. I know that's one of my favorite stories on YouTube. And so this is the original menu. Anyone who's trying to sell you digital menu boards, tell them to kick rocks, because you could just do it with a chalkboard. And then this is the lines that were created around this parking lot. Eventually, they made enough money with about 8 months later. They were able to move to the brick and mortar. I promise you, any real estate people in the room, this is the worst piece of real estate in probably all of Los Angeles. And it was doing, when I joined the team, it was doing $6 million in sales. Literally stepping over bottles of Hypnotic and used syringes. And this restaurant was kicking butt in Hollywood. So let's talk about digitization. When we talked to the QSR folks about digitization, I was like, what does that mean? What's digitization? Obviously, it's the idea of taking something digital. When I started in the industry, this is how we did everything, by pen and paper. Literally every single function of the restaurant management piece was done pen and paper. Everything from new hire paperwork packets to ledgers, sales, right? You remember. Yeah, I'm dating myself a little bit. I'm 44, okay? And so I'm dating myself a little bit. This is literally how everything was done back then. And then along came Excel, which was like a godsend for doing your food costing. And here's how, long ago they took orders at the beginning. That's the original KDS on the right-hand side there, on the left-hand side for you guys with the guest checks. Eventually it moved into an actual terminal with old school KDS systems. And then if you were a manager, you did everything on a clipboard. If you remember, everything was on it. Where's my clipboard? Where's it? There was like a bank of clipboards on a wall, usually on the back of an office door, as you probably recall. And now everything's done either on a computer or on a tablet, which is just the craziest thing, even in your own home lives, right? Who still does photo albums? Anybody? You're old. I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly, right? Photo albums have moved from being jammed into cellophane-covered books, and they're online now. They're on Facebook or they're on Instagram. Everything has been digitized. We're going to talk about the Dave's Tech Partners. Leon, you want to talk about those?
Sure. By the way, I have no clue what Jim's talking about. I came out of the womb with an iPad.
Leon's actually older than I am.
So yeah, no idea what he's talking about. So we have a typical tech stack that restaurants are used to kind of having. We've always prided ourselves in having a very simple tech stack, but as we were building this deck, we kind of figured out that, well, we have a lot of systems layered in. So we use Harry for workforce management, PlayerLink for training and development. There we go. For our mobile app, we're using Koala for the front end and Punch for our loyalty engine. We obviously use Olo, and Olo's just, it's the aggregator of all of our digital orders, and it works very well because of throttling, and it allows you to throttle orders and such. Revel for POS, cloud-based POS. And for third-party management, we use Loop and Accelerate together. One end of it deals with the chargebacks and the refund capabilities. The other one allows us to kind of manage the online presence of third parties. Restaurant 365 mostly for accounting and inventory control. RAD for dashboarding and baby data warehousing. That's what I call it, a baby data warehouse. And we just recently partnered up with Bitticks for CDP, and so we're getting some valuable data from that platform.
When we talk about restaurant operations, the digitization of restaurant ops started, I think, most notably for at least the day-to-day operator in training, or at least the most impactfully in the training side of things. When I started long ago, paper training guides, written tests, that was the way you did training. You had a chart up on the wall with like stars or some type of sticker to track employees' progress. And then you ended up moving away from paper and into videotapes. Any Wendy's alum in here? Anybody ever work for Wendy's? This might look familiar to you. Nope. How do I get it to play? Can you guys click on the play bar at the bottom for me? Should be right down there. Nope. You can play that one. That one's fine. Either one's fine. There it is.
There's a crew guide and the grill training tape. Why don't you have a look at the tape first, and I'll check back with you in a few minutes.
All right. Welcome to Grillville, it ain't so tough. But first of all, you got to check your stuff. Like a grill that's set at 250 with the meat and cheese that's ready to go. A towel to keep your station looking cool. But most of all, you got to have your tool.
All right, and then here's another one. If you guys could click on that play bar too for me. These were major video productions. This one's from McDonald's. I mean, want to guess what year that was produced? 80, who said 84? 84 is exactly right. How much money did McDonald's pay for that? That was like right when that song was popular too. They probably paid huge money for that. So these major video productions to do video training back in the day. And let's go to the next one. All right, but today you have all sorts of different versions of training, mostly done on some type of a tablet, whether it's an iPad or other. Play this one. Whoops. So where they were on click. Would you click on that one for me too, please? It's at the bottom of the iPad, sorry. At Dave's, we use PlayerLink, and we do all of the digital training stuff on the tablet. That should play. I don't know if you hit pause again. It's like, there you go. There you go. And it's everything. Everything that you could possibly imagine or want is stored on our PlayerLink tablets. As we move forward here in the near future, we're going to be moving to some videos. My son actually works for Dave's, and we were talking about doing videos, and he said, we can just do them ourselves, right? Which is nuts. The idea that you could do, you could take that major video production and turn it into something that you could just shoot on an iPhone. If you could click on the girl for me.
So today I'm going to be taking you guys through a day in my life at Dave's Hot Chicken. Now my primary responsibility at work at all times is to blow our guests' minds and turn them into fans. How do we do that, you may ask? It's super simple. Serve great food and provide great guest service. Now we already have a great...
So we're not actually going to shoot them on iPhones, but you literally could. Like, the video quality is so strong. And if you've got talent in your restaurant, which you do, because these people are on TikTok all the time creating videos or YouTube or whatever they're doing. That girl did that with no script. She just did it because she posts all the time for herself. So she just kind of did that in one take. Also today, you do your testing or your certifying on tablets. And then even that old school certification chart is done via the platform. That's on the right-hand side for you guys, where you track the person's training and their progress through your system. And tomorrow, and maybe not tomorrow for Dave's, not yet anyway, but virtual training with your Oculus, potentially. And so that's kind of a cool potential for the future in terms of training. From a guest feedback perspective, this is old school. Remember these? Comment cards set on the table, left with a little pencil, and you might go through these on a daily basis, or you might go through these on a weekly basis, and as you pulled out all the pieces that had people's anatomy drawn in, or the fun comments that people would leave for you to read, you might get some nuggets of truth. And today, use companies like Tattle and Ovation. We're partnered with Tattle currently, and it's an all surveys, digital surveys platform. But of course, the ultimate guest feedback tool nowadays is Google Reviews and Yelp, which we manage very closely. It's really important to us at Dave's as a new brand. Bird Eye is our partner that kind of aggregates all of our social ratings and reviews. And we get a report on a daily basis from them by restaurant, by franchise group. And they have a really robust app, actually, where you can see every single review. You can get alerted as a review comes in. So it's been a very effective platform and tool for us. And the next generation is generating responses via AI. So as I look at this really quickly, the way we handle guest complaints at Dave's is we have this, what I call the guest response loop. The guest leaves a Yelp, a Google, or a Tattle review, And we have a team of a couple of people that will respond to every single one. Dave's is an all franchise organization. We're up to about 132 locations open as of right now. And 4 of them are company operated locations. So the other 128 are all franchised. And what we have done is we've tried to manage the response and the recovery for guest comments along the way. And so we try really hard to respond to every one of these reviews. We have about a 24-hour response time average that we get to see off of the Bird Eye platform. But specifically, what we do is we respond by sending some type of a message. If they've given us a 5-star, we say thanks, or thanks for the love, appreciate it, whatever. If they've given us below a 5-star, we ask them to give us more details, and then we offer some form of recovery. And so that comment goes back to the guest. We use the Tattle platform to collect the additional information and then to send them the recovery piece. So we try to close the loop on every single one. We don't get responses for every single one, but we do actually see probably, I would say, a 10% re-review rate, maybe 9%, a re-review rate, where sometimes when they've given us a 3, they'll move it to a 4 or a 5 once we recovered it. What that's led to for us is an improved, what we call our Bird Eye rating, but it's the aggregate of Google and Yelp together. We've moved from, in Q1 of 2021, a 3.8 average between those two, up to most recently a 4.6 in Q1 of this year, which is kind of the opposite of what you usually see as you continue to open more restaurants. You usually see the numbers go down. We've been very focused on making those numbers move up. And it's been actually very successful for us with that guest response process. The next big part in operations, like the biggest thing that we see happen in our restaurants in terms of the #1 guest complaint that we get is order accuracy. So I was at one of these conferences a year and a half ago, and I got approached for the idea of using AI to help with suggestive selling. And I said, like, I really don't want to force the suggestive selling. I know that's kind of like antithetical to what most people think, but I feel like it makes it more fast foody to keep asking guests if they want something else, I would have preferred, and I said it to the guy I was talking to, how do we take your AI thing and catch the mistakes before the mistakes go out? Because that's my #1 problem. Anyway, they came up with potentially using AI to follow or track the order and catch when orders are missing a piece. So as Leon calls it, it's series, what do you call it, Leon?
Angry British Uncle.
Angry British Uncle. The Status AI is our partner there as we're working through this process. And they are based out of London, therefore the British, the Angry British Uncle reference. But what they're doing is there's cameras above, in 5 of our restaurants right now, there's cameras above the line watching all of the steps. It's a really cool potential application that isn't working yet, but that's the idea, is like, how do you catch, like, that sandwich was supposed to have pickles on it, or it wasn't supposed to have pickles on it, or how do you catch at the bagging point that we missed the macaroni and cheese, which is like our #1 or #2 most missed item, is macaroni and cheese when somebody substituted it. So here's a quick video. Can you guys play that video for me, please? Demo of kind of how it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
It knows the recipe, and then it watches while the recipe is being made, and then it's supposed to red flag us when the recipe is made incorrectly. They've been great partners. We've been working with them for about, is it 8 months, Leon?
Yeah, it's been a while.
About 8
Yeah,
months.
8 months.
They're working hard on this. They're investing a lot of money to try to get it to work. It's not working yet, I'm totally honest, but the idea is that. Did you see where it said missing? That's the idea. That's our hopefully the next iteration of how we manage our guest complaints and our overall guest sentiment. And then, let's go to the next one. From a guest ordering perspective, old school cash registers, walking in and going through the drive-thru. And then nowadays, you've got everything in a cloud somewhere up there, coming from your POS, including all of your payments and all of your data storage. I believe Leon mentioned earlier, we're partnered with Revel. We picked Revel on purpose because of the ability to plug in, say it?
Open APIs.
Open APIs, so that we could plug in all of these different pieces as we grew it. We use Olo with all the third-party stuff coming in, including our app and web ordering. And the tomorrow of it, we'll have dynamic quote times coming in. We'll have guest arrival tech letting us know when somebody's arrived in the restaurant. More options to pay at the drive-thru, trying to pay like ahead of time before you even get to the window. That would remove a pain point. It would also remove the pain point of asking a guest if they want to leave a tip for the team, which is really awkward and weird, so we don't do it. And then order ready screens at the pickup counter as we continue to move forward. And then the next big tomorrow, Leon, this is Leon's pet project. You want to talk about that?
It is. Let's do it. So so we had an offer to go into the metaverse, and so we decided to do that. But I wanted to go into the metaverse with intention. I didn't want to just create a metaverse experience and just have someone visit a Dave's Hot Chicken and not be able to do anything there. So what we're doing is we're incorporating order and pay in the metaverse. I think we're going to be the first to launch order and pay in the metaverse. And we're also layering in loyalty components into that experience. So your purchases in the metaverse end up gaining loyalty points. But the more important thing is that when we're also going to have avatar merch, virtual merch for your avatar. And so you can use your loyalty points then to buy the avatar merch, which costs us almost nothing to create. And then you've spent all this money buying food in exchange for that avatar merch. So we're going to do that also. We're going to incorporate a lot of what we have in our restaurant. So we're going to have our graffiti wall. At some point, we're going to have user-generated graffiti walls, maybe something like a mosaic, where we have a 10 by 10 square, where every person kind of picks a square and then does their own graffiti art. Obviously, we have to approve it so that we don't have swastikas and penis signs all over our experience. So it takes a little bit of work there. And we're also building a VIP area for our loyalty customers. So we're also trying to sign up folks into our loyalty program so that they gain access to the VIP area and get some experiential stuff outside of just come here, buy food, look at the graffiti wall, and leave. And so what our metaverse experience is going to look like is that. As you know, our brand started in a parking lot. So our metaverse experience is going to start in a parking lot also. So we're trying to mimic as much as possible the parking lot experience. And as you can see, there's also a UFO that's crashed into the wall next door. So this is V1 of the drawing, obviously. V2 will have a little bit of the wall crashed and things like that. And so the VIP experience that I'm talking about is the UFO there. So you gain access into the UFO, and you'll have access to your VIP area. And what we're doing is that we're taking key folks from our corporate office and our stores and making 3D renderings of them. So then when you visit our experience, you're actually going to see, Jim in there and our CEO and key
Our
folks
founders.
from our team. Yeah, and obviously the founders. Yep. The founders are the key folks. So a little bit more about the ordering experience. What you're going to do is when you come into when you teleport into our experience, you end up walking up to Armand, who then, as soon as you walk up to him and you touch him, you get your ordering experience, you order your items, and then as soon as you're done paying for it, Dave, the person that's behind the recipes, will then throw a tender at you, and then you get your order confirmation there. Then your food shows up, obviously, at your doorstep in 30 minutes. There it is.
No, questions before applause. We can answer questions really well, so we'll need applause after that too. Any questions about the metaverse stuff? My biggest question when Leon first brought this in is, what the hell's the metaverse exactly? Like, what does that mean, or what does that look like? And he goes, have you ever used Roblox? And I have a 9-year-old, and I play Roblox with him all the time. It's the best aid to falling asleep, to be honest with you, because we'll do it late at night, and I'm like, and he's like waking me up, Dad, chase me. And if you've ever done Roblox, that's the metaverse. Fortnite? Fortnite, that's the metaverse. If you've ever played Fortnite. No? Or what's another example? Metaverse? Minecraft?
There you go.
Minecraft's a great
Yes,
example.
yes.
That's a great example. So that's the metaverse, where you exist virtually, and you can interact and do things virtually. So the idea, and so it's like, as he explained it to me, I'm explaining to you as a layperson, just because when he said, I said, oh, I get it now. It's like when you used to go to different websites, or when you used to get on the internet, you used to go to like AOL, or you used to go to Microsoft Network or whatever, and within that system, you're doing stuff. Within whatever system you're in, you're doing stuff. And so what he was just talking about is you're actually gonna be able to go to a Dave's Hot Chicken location in the metaverse, order and pay, and then the food will actually deliver to your home or to your office or whatever, which is weird and nuts. And I don't know, is it a stunt? I'm not sure that that's where everybody's going, but we're going there.
Yeah.
Is it this quarter? When are we launching?
We're launching in 5 weeks. I just had the meeting yesterday. In 5 weeks, we'll be in the metaverse. And by the way, I mean, we're all trying to figure out what the metaverse means to us. It kind of reminds me, I mean, when I was like 1 year old, I remember, in the early 2000s, when Web 2 came out, people were just, companies were just spending a ton of money, a couple $100,000 just to get an HTML site up. And they didn't know what it meant, right, until, ordering came in and some of those experiences. So, Web 3 or the metaverse is kind of where that is. We're trying to figure out what does it mean. But our goal really is to bridge the physical and virtual worlds and to mesh them together, because I think that's what's going to end up happening. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but today you can go on Microsoft Teams with your goggles on and have a virtual meeting with someone that's physically there on Teams in the office. So they're already meshing virtual and physical together. So try that out. I haven't tried it out yet, but I've read plenty about it. And by the way, I didn't know very much about the metaverse either until the project came to me, and then I had to become a pseudo expert in the project to figure out what we're going to do with it. So I'm still learning.
Oh, please.
No, this lives with the vendor. It's kind of like, if you think about the experience, it's kind of like when you want to build a website, you pick a hosting partner and then you build the website. So that's what we're doing. It's completely outsourced to the vendor, and it's, it exists on their servers. It's probably like an AWS farm that it lives on, but it essentially lives on a server.
So it'll be like Dave's Hot Chicken dot something? Is that how you get there?
Yeah, you can have that experience, or you can just go kind of like imagine a Google search, except you're in this virtual city, right? You can go into this virtual city and walk around it, and the place where we're going to be is going to be just, I mean, the intention of that world is for it to have retail, food, conference space, and for it to host concerts. So in about a year or two, we're gonna do a lot more.
This guy's laughing at you. He's like, that's ridiculous.
I know,
it's
it's,
the nuttiest thing ever, right?
in 10 years, we're all gonna be virtually meeting at these conferences. It's happening. It really, I know you guys laugh now, but that's what's gonna happen. It's just technology is moving so fast that it's gonna happen. The metaverse avatars just recently got legs, and that was a big thing. So,
they didn't have legs before?
It's going to start looking a lot more realistic. I mean, fashion brands are thinking about doing their fashion shows virtually. So it's a huge deal. And if you look at some of the concerts that have happened on Roblox and in the metaverse in general, the numbers kind of skip my mind right now, but the numbers are astonishing. Because imagine you have this endless space of people that can have that front and center stage presence. And you can sell those tickets, right? How close do you want to be? That costs a little bit more, but you can sell that to millions and millions of people, that same seat. I mean, it's just, that's the future. It really is.
This will be the last question.
It seems in our exploration, so before we were at Dave's, we were at Blaze Pizza, both Leon and I and several of us on our team. And we did a bunch of stuff at Blaze where we kind of learned our way through it. I think they're on their 4th iteration of their app as an example, as they kind of like started. I think Jeff was talking about earlier today too, that some of the partners he started with don't even exist anymore. Kind of that same experience. And so what we found at both, in both experiences, Blaze and Dave's, is that there are certain groups or certain companies that are specialists in a specific tool. And so we've plugged those specific specialist tools into the system. For example, we use Restaurant 365 because of the integration with our food vendor, as well as with the ability to produce P&L reports better than a different potential partner. Versus Harry, which is our human capital management system, and they happen to have certain tools, specifically compliance as a franchisor. We want the franchisees to have access to the compliance piece, and so we chose Harry. And so by choosing Revel, that had the open API piece, we've been able to plug everything in. That's been on purpose and done so that we could do the specialist thing. So to answer your question succinctly, yes, we think it's better to do multiple partners, the ones that are the specialists. In whatever side or aspect of it that we're very interested in and want to do.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that if you select an all-in-one partner, then I beg the question of what's your core competency, right? Even when companies buy other companies to kind of have a bigger offering, it's like, well, what are you really going to focus on? Because and the reason why we went this way is because we want every company that we've partnered with to focus on that specific thing. Because once the focus goes away or gets spread across, the product ends up not being as innovative, right? It typically falls behind on innovation and other feature sets that some of the competitors have. So then what do you end up doing is forklifting that solution and putting something else in. And our goal, or at least my goal, is to make that decision right from the get-go and to never have to forklift a solution. I mean, will it happen? Probably not. We'll probably end up forklifting a few of them. But if you operate with that goal, I think you'll succeed a lot better.
At Blaze, we used Aloha, and it was like pulling teeth to plug things in. It was really difficult, especially as things moved really quickly and third-party delivery stuff or Olo or any number of other things. We really couldn't plug it in super well. They had to come up with like all these sort of side doors or back doors to get it in. Sounds like we're ready to finish up. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, gentlemen.